Hi, I'm Garrett with IDC Woodcraft, and I want to thank you for coming to this video where I get to share with you the top 6 tips that you want to take into consideration while considering your CNC machine purchase that you might be making this year. It doesn't matter if it's a CNC router, a CNC laser cutter or CNC laser etcher, a CNC plasma cutter, a CNC milling machine, 3D printer, any kind of CNC machine. You want to take these 6 tips in consideration right up front. And this is especially important for you if you have never dealt with CNC machines before and you're considering buying a hobby machine or making money off of it. This video is really important for you. So you want to watch this all the way through with all these tips. Now, first of all, before we get into the tips, I want you to understand what a CNC machine is in the first place. A CNC machine consists of 4 basic elements. The first element is the machine itself that moves around like this router based on what a computer is telling it to do. Now you see this is not doing anything but moving. That's what a CNC machine is. In order for this router to work, it needs the second element, which is the tool. So you're watching this video of it cutting wood. Now if it comes to a 3D printer, the tool is the melting head. A laser cutter is the laser. It goes on and on like that. So that's the second element that you're going to have to take into consideration. I'm going to talk about this later on in this video. The third element is the design software. A machine is not going to know what to do until you create the design and translate that into the machine so it knows exactly what you want it to do. And the fourth element are all the accessory components. Now, there's a lot of different things, measuring tools, there's management of the air. What do I mean by that? When it comes to CNC router, it's very dusty. You know, you're making wood chips, sawdust. A CNC laser is burning wood. A lot of fumes coming off of it. Same with a 3D printer. They all have their own mess. And it cracks me up whenever I see images of a CNC machine on a kitchen counter doing stuff. You're going to regret putting that thing in your house. So that's some of the accessory stuff. I'll talk about all this as we move along. But now that you understand the basics of what a CNC machine is, and you're interested in buying something like a CNC router or CNC laser, plasma cutter, let's dive into what you have to take into consideration if you want to make a good quality purchase and not regret the decision later. The first thing is know what you're buying and who you're buying it from. Now I'm going to say this from the get-go. If you've never purchased a machine before, do not buy from a third-party source like Amazon, eBay, or any other third-party source like that. You're asking for trouble. And the reason is because these are typically sold by individuals, or they are what they call pass-through, meaning they're just selling the product, but they don't actually manage the product. It's being managed by somebody else. So you're not buying from a company, you're buying from someone who's just getting a commission off of it. Inevitably, you will have some kind of challenge with a CNC machine. The thing with CNC machines, I'm going to make this little side note. There are no new gadget CNC machines. It's a basic machine, like I explained before. It's been around for many years, and it's just a matter of what they put in it to make it do what you want it to do. So just remember that. The thing is, when you're buying off of these types of websites, and that machine breaks down, you don't have the support system behind it in order to get parts, in order to troubleshoot your problems. You want to connect directly with the company. So unless you know what you're doing, stay away from third-party sources. Go directly to the companies that sell them. So let's go to my notes, and I'm going to talk to you about this a little bit more. Why do you want to go to the company? Well, so a lot of people want to cut corners and buy a little cheap machine. I used to actually encourage people that if you don't understand CNC machines, to go ahead and buy a little cheap thing, a $300 thing. I don't recommend that anymore, because most of those $300 machines come from China, and China does make good stuff, but there's no support there, and sometimes they make good stuff. Typically, the machines from China are not that strong. You can bend them over your knee, break them with a feather, and you've had your experience with Chinese-made products. So you really need to be aware when you're buying from third-party sources, it's typically coming from China. So when it comes to looking at the companies, what do you look for? Well, I will tell you what I do and how I keep on moving up the ladder as I'm selecting companies and drop other ones off. The first thing I do is go to their website. And does their website have a phone number and a physical address? Those first two, if I do not see them, puts it in question for me. And I'll give you a good example. When I first got a CNC machine, I was going to get a small one to see if I really wanted to get into it for business. And the website didn't have a phone number or address, so red flag there. But I emailed them because it was my top pick from everything I could tell. And I said, can I get on the phone with you so we can talk? And they emailed me back and said, well, we don't do that. We feel it's better to help you through email. And I don't give a shit. I just asked you to talk to you, and they said no. So they don't listen to the customers. They have you're getting the drift. I want to get on the phone with them. So first thing is, do they have the address? Do they have a phone number? The second thing is the website itself. Are they promoting price cuts, or are they promoting specs and telling you what this machine does? When you're buying a CNC machine, you're buying a machine that is doing stuff, and you want this machine to be durable. If it is light on specs, then I would be a little careful. A good example is actually a well-known company out there, Inventables, that really markets heavy with their X-Car Pro product. But you go to the website, and it's a price cut based website as opposed to a spec website. What I mean by that is right on top, they have this $12,000 machine listed with the $12,000 struck out, and as of now, this video, it's priced at $8,000. So they're promoting this 35% off deal with this amazing machine that keeps getting promoted out there. Coming from an engineer and someone who has purchased machines, no one ever discounts a machine so heavily when they want you to buy something. It's bad marketing in my case. So that's a price-based website, and it's just a big turnoff for me. One of the things that it shows me is integrity in this kind of level. What a company does right up front with you is going to be a reflection of how they are going to treat you in the future. So if you get on the phone with them and they treat you like you're stupid because you don't know much about CNC, then you can expect that kind of treatment down the road as you get better or when you're asking for help. So price-based websites, stay away from. Look for the specifications. In the same example, the specs that they list are very scarce. The pictures are very, there's just not a lot being shown there. So this is the kind of stuff I'm looking for. When you're buying a CNC machine, you are buying a machine that you want to last and to do what you want it to do. So you want to know what's inside of it. So that's coming from the engineer aspect of me. There's a lot to know when it comes to doing that. Educate yourself. I really strongly encourage that you educate yourself first. My channel is about that, right? I teach CNC for beginners. I teach the design software VCarve. I teach about entrepreneurialism and the CNC thing. If you want to make money with your CNC machine, there's lots of links down below for you to go look at so you understand what I do on this channel. Now, once you're past the website, get on the horn. Talk to them. See if they are willing to help you out as a paying customer. When push comes to shove, you're the one with the money that they want, And the best way they are going to get that is if they provide you integrity and value. And if you have this kind of feeling that there's something missing and you're trying to address it and you're not getting that answer, it's a huge red flag. Bring it up to them. Say, I'm asking you this question, I'm not getting an answer. How come? You're the customer. You're the one that's in charge of this purchase. So how they engage with you is critical. If you feel just uneasy about it, move on. Just be willing to let it go and move on. The next thing is that customer service and the support behind the company. So you want to understand, are they going to be there in the long haul? There's a few companies out there that I've listed down below that show this kind of support that I recommend so I can save you the search in finding the right machine with the right company that's going to support you. All right, so let's go on to the next thing is, what do you want to do with this? Is this a hobby thing? Do you want to make money off of it? Are you going to go into this full time? Now, these are 3 different levels, like hobby, side hustle hobby, or full time. If you don't know anything about CNC machines, I'm going to encourage you to go into a good hobby level machine that can start to cross into a little bit of income. Bob's CNC is a really good one when it comes to CNC routers, but all that's listed down below. Okay, now if the company has passed your website test and your contact test and you're feeling good about them, the next level is, how do they operate in the long term with you? Meaning, do they provide a membership type of service with their software, or is the equipment that you're buying standalone? Now, what I mean by that is, you have companies like Glowforge, which makes a home-based laser, nice little machine that does pretty stuff, but it's connected to the internet, and it's connected to their software, and it's married to it. So if you lose your internet connection, or you don't pay the subscription when your initial purchase subscription runs out, then you've pretty much lost the use of the machine. You are married to the company and married to paying them. So I would encourage you to find out if it's a membership-based system that they're trying to sell you, or it's an add-on with your purchase. If you can purchase the machine where you don't need that add-on, avoid it, because you don't want to be married to having to pay subscription fees later on in life. So watch for that. So this next tip is stacked on top of this company. The company's passed your test. Now what? Look for the pattern. And what I mean by that is, out in the world, there's a lot of talk of people who use these different machines. There's videos out there, there's reviews on the machines, and there's Facebook groups where people use lots of different machines. CNC for Beginners is a good one. So what you want to do is get out there and just kind of watch it and see what people are saying about their own machine, if they're giving you pros and cons. This is a big deal. So if you're going to a YouTube channel and the person is talking about the machine that they have and some of the limitations that they have with it, then you're getting some good information. But if someone is just saying the good stuff about a machine without the issues that they inevitably are having, then it's a little bit biased. You're not getting real good stuff. But the thing is look for the big long-term pattern of what a lot of different people are saying. You'll see a review that says a machine is a piece of junk. You'll see another review that says the machine is amazing. So these are the kind of things you just kind of weed out, but you want to see the long-term trend over that. So like, you've got the reviews, you go join these groups like CNC for Beginners, see what they're doing, what they're making, and if as they're talking about some of the challenges they're having with the machine that they're using. This is the best way to tell of what a good company is and a good machine is. Because if a person is happy with it, they're going to talk about the customer service. They're going to talk about their machine. Most of what they say is going to be biased in the good direction. They're also going to share some of the problems that they're having, like I said. So don't go with one single review where one person is bashing something. They're just angry, or they're just so biased that they don't like that one. You know, it's every machine has its upside, even the cheap Chinese machines, right? Because they're cheap and easy, right? They're just not very strong. So that's actually pretty simple to say. We're looking for patterns. What I want you to be really careful about, though, is when you're watching YouTube videos, and you're watching one where someone says, here's 5 things you can sell that you can make on your CNC machine. And you go watch the video, and they have some pictures of these things that they make, and some footage of the machine moving around and the finished product. You're not being told the whole story by a long shot. I want you to understand what you are getting into when you are getting into a CNC machine, no matter what it is. You have to buy materials to do something to. Wood, metal, plastic, when it comes to 3D printing. Like I said, you have to buy the tooling. That's all involved. But it's the process, right? So you have to understand the materials. Different woods cut different ways. And you're going to learn that. That's part of the learning curve. So don't let this turn you off. But you have to prep the material. Then you have to do the design work. And then you get to slap it on your machine, set up your tooling, get everything set, and start running it. And the actual running of the machine usually is about 10% of the entire process. And then is the post-processing. So the machine cuts it. Now you got to sand it if it's a wood project, and finish it, and maybe some assembly if you're doing a multi-part type of job, and painting it, and the final product. There's just a lot of stuff that you have to do in between. And then if you want to sell it, well, then you have to learn the marketing side of it, and that's a totally different ballgame. Subscribe to this channel to start learning about that. What I'm saying is, don't buy into what these videos show you when they're talking about how, when they're just leaning towards making money and it's that easy. It's not. It takes a lot of work and a lot of passion and a lot of patience. Now, there's one more thing I want to tell you that is a huge tip that you are probably not aware of. In fact, most first-time purchasers get shocked by this when they start to realize this. There's 2 things that you really want to take into consideration: time and money. So let's talk about time first. When you get a CNC machine, you can't just plop it down on the table and start making stuff. You have to learn about this thing. You have to learn the software that's running it, the design software. You have to understand the materials that you're cutting or making or moving around, whatever you're doing with it. And you have to learn how to work with it, and you're going to make a lot of mistakes along the way. That's just part of the learning curve, and that's okay, because it's a lot of fun as you progress and you get better at something. But it's going to take time. You're going to have to sit down in front of videos to learn the software, and it's going to take hours. And then you have to do the design work. There's a lot of time involved outside of just that machine making the moves. Now, the other thing is about plopping that machine down on the table and thinking it's just going to make stuff because you're buying it, and it's not. You have expenses that you're going to have to absorb. The machine is simply one expense, and the machine by itself will not do crap. Okay? If you're doing a CNC router, you have to buy router bits. When I went into it, I thought maybe I can use my handheld router bits. You can't. You have to use very different types of router bits. And these bits can actually get pretty pricey. Now, I've put down on my links down below inexpensive starter bits that you can get. They're hard as hell to search out on Amazon and stuff like that. But I put all that together, and I put a video up here, the tools that you need for start. But you have to make these purchases, and they're actually, it gets pricey as you move along. You get better, high quality bits. One router bit can cost 30 bucks. That's kind of, get that in your mind, that you're going to have to buy that stuff. You'll have to buy the supplies to resupply your machine. If it's a 3D printer, right, you have to buy the plastic to put into it. And you're going to have to allow the time for it to make stuff. Making stuff on a machine, any CNC machine, is not very fast. Probably the fastest ones are the plasma cutters. But that's kind of the way it goes, right? You're going to have to be prepared for that. You got another sticker shock coming. software, the design software. Now, there are some free open source softwares out there like Easel, and then there's Carbide Create, which is not an open source software. It's put out by, I'm not sure what company. Easel is a limited software. It works. It's a good starter software. It doesn't cost you anything. It's not married to any company. Carbide Create, from what I understand, is tedious to work with. You have Fusion 360. I don't know if it's free or not, or if there's a free variant of it. I believe there is. That's very limited. And then you have the cream of the crop, the software that's really the icon of the industry, which is Vectric VCarve. And that's what I use. Works very well. I highly recommend you just dive right into that if you're going to get a CNC machine. But that software is going to cost you starting like $350. So you're buying a $1,000 machine, then you got a couple $100 in tools, and then you got another few $100 in the software and whatever money you're going to be spending on the supplies that you need to actually make stuff. So get ready for that type of expense. You're just not going to get the machine and start running. So expense and time. Okay, so up to this point we've covered quite a few things. We've talked about what a CNC machine is, and now you know there's a lot of accessories that are going to be involved in purchasing this machine. That you're going to have to buy tooling, you're going to have to learn the software, you may have to buy software, you have to buy supplies, you're going to have to do work in the process, and you can't just make money with it. It's a craft, you're going to have a learning curve. And you want to check the reviews on it, you know, see what people are saying about it over the long haul. Find the support systems out there. And then, of course, don't buy into the money game. Just because someone says there's a bunch of things you can make with a CNC machine doesn't mean you're going to succeed at it. If you don't understand business, just learn the craft first and then start to learn the business aspect along the way. So let's just kind of come down to the end here. What I want to tell you is to look for channels on YouTube that have integrity, that do tell you both sides of the game. Like me here. CNC is a lot of fun. You learn a lot. You create beautiful things. It's a lot of work. and you're surprised sometimes at the expenses that you put out. So that's what you want to watch for in YouTube channels. If they're just leaning towards money, you know, turn them off. Don't buy that crap. Go with the channels that are giving you all the information, trying to direct you in the right paths. So one of them is Mark Lindsay. He's been out there for a long time. There's going to be a link down below for his YouTube channel. Another guy, he never says his name on his videos, so I don't know what his name is, but he calls his channel Stuff to Keep You Entertained. And he talks about all the same stuff. That it's not a cheap hobby to get into. You know, and it does take a lot of work. And you do run into a lot of problems. And there's lots of practice along the way. And it's a lot of fun. So subscribe to those channels. Subscribe to my channel. Like I said, this is CNC for beginners. VCarve, design software for beginners. CNC Entrepreneurialism. There's CNC Entrepreneurial Facebook group. Everything's down below. Go through all those links. And the tooling, I've got links for that too. So I am going to compile a list down below of the companies that I like that have met all these tests. They are there. I know where they're at. They got phone numbers. I can talk to them. They will troubleshoot with me. And their customer base is very happy with them. So those are the recommendations that are down below. And I will add to that as I find more companies to recommend to you. I'm not sponsored by any of them. I want you to be able to choose for yourself. So that's just the way it goes. Okay, this is Garrett. If you found this helpful, give me a thumbs up. I'd love a comment, especially you CNCers who have some experience and are just watching this because you like to watch this kind of stuff. Leave a comment down below for the newbies, the people who are getting interested in it, in a way that helps them. Okay, don't bias them. Just give them the truth, your truth, of course. So I'd love to have your help in teaching them as they're going along buying the machines. So this is Garrett, IDC Woodcraft, and that's it. I hope you have a great day. Happy CNC shopping, and I will help you out as much as I can along the way. I'll see you.